Hi, my name's Ellie. Welcome to my channel. Tried it again today to get us to just we're putting on the actual makeup I'm talking about. So we're doing sister palettes, Gemini and colored Raine. Nope. I can't say the brand name and the palette name for one. So, colored Raine, Queen of Hearts, Melt Cosmetics, Gemini. I have a specific look in mind, which might be a bad plan. I don't use... That's fun. Just knocked a bunch of debris out of the shimmer shade. I don't really use this section very much. I used it when I first got the palette, and then I just kind of stopped. I got into the swampy green side, and I really didn't touch it. But I think that would play really well with this, you can't see, this lovely orange, which otherwise has, you know, a brown that it does pair well with, but is not the same as like a nice, you know, mustardy one right there. And Noblewoman is this really nice red-toned purpley berry thing. So, I have a plan. We'll see what happens. It might be horrible. I want to use like Lorelei and Empress for like a really warm crease. And then do the lid with Goals and Noblewoman, maybe a little bit of Your Majesty in between. Some of it is that I saw a picture of something, and it was really cool looking, but also I'm not really going to exactly do that look, and since it was just a look I saw on Pinterest, I have no idea whose work it is. Not everything is tagged very well on Pinterest. A lot of stuff is just, yeah, sure, that's a look. Who did it? Whose work is this? Is there a tutorial? Is this an Instagram post? Is this just, oh, you just found a photo on the internet and put it on your Instagram and I have no way of finding out anything about that look? Okay, great. So we're in Lorelei right now, just using the fun mustard tones. I'm hoping to get a nice base and then kind of layer Empress over top. Because I feel like when I think about mustard in here, I normally go for mochi. But this is a nice mustard too. See? When I use the makeup that I own, I learn things about the makeup that I own. I feel like when I originally got the Gemini palette, I was excited and disappointed. Like, it was cool. I liked it. I was very into it. I'm going to take a little bit of Luna just on my brush to kind of fuzz out the edges as I buff. Oh, that really changed the color. That makes sense. I don't know why I was expecting anything different. Yeah, I was really excited. Like, they were really cool colors that I don't think I had as much access to as I do now. Like, I wasn't aware of how much I liked mustard and swampy green, despite the fact that I bought a mustard and swampy green palette. I just really wanted to try more Melt. Because I think I had a single, I hadn't really bought any stacks, and they came out with palettes, and I'm like, I prefer palettes than digging through a stack, which is honestly like having singles. I had one, I think it was Paradox? It was one of the red shades that I bought entirely so I would have a red, and then promptly realized how many other reds I had in my collection. Now we're going to go in, so Lorelei is on and blended out, and then touched back up with a little more Lorelei. Let's go into Empress and make this an aggressive orange. Because there's not a true orange in the Melt. There's a lot of mustard, there's a lot of green, there's no true orange. Which Empress is a really nice, strong orange. yeah, so I got it. I was excited to try more of the formula. I think I might have had issues with Gemini, the shimmer shade, and that might have helped put me off of it. It might have also been around the time when I was realizing that limited edition and like release schedules were really ramping up. I was expecting things to have more of a breather room between releases, and like right after the Gemini, the 27 palette, I think that's the one, which is the other of the two creators. They each like made a palette that is like their go-to colors and is supposed to be their epitome of themselves. I think it was the 27th. Anyway, the next palette came out really quickly, and they weren't really restocking the Gemini, and since it also felt like it was part of a companion situation, it was weird, and it kind of threw a lot of people off, and I think there was a lot of pushback on the Gemini palette at that point. I'm going to go in with this brush on Your Majesty. Just pop that in the middle. I don't want a lot of it, but I do think I want like a thin line of that to sit between Goals and Noblewoman. I think that's what I'm doing. So, gorgeous, gorgeous gold shade, which works a lot better than Gemini. But yeah, so it felt like this should have been kind of like how they released the Dia de los Muertos palette, in that they were going together. It was the two creators making their palettes. It should have been something that came out at the same time, at least in a lot of people's opinion, and at least in mine. It should have been something that you could have bought together or seen both and made your pick, because a lot of people bought the Gemini palette when they would have liked the 27 palette, and these are not cheap palettes. Melt palettes are pretty expensive, especially when I haven't had any issues yet, other than Gemini kind of being a shit shade. Other creators have had issues with there being some formula changes and wonkiness in the different formulas. So it's kind of like the big outcry when the Modern Renaissance came out and people saw that use by date, that you were supposed to use the palette in 6 months. And I don't think anybody had really paid attention to that yet. They're like, what do you mean I only have 6 months until it goes bad? And people panicked. But where was I even going with that? Don't know. Using goals. Yeah, I think a lot of people got kind of mad at buying the Gemini, thinking they could use this, nice, more neutral side, the more mustardy, browny gold side, that they weren't really into the greens, and being like, okay, well, it's just my one chance to get a melt palette, at least for now, because they hadn't done any other palettes. And then immediately after that, they pop out the 27 palette, which is a lot more neutral, is a lot more, approachable, and is so close that people are like, I just bought the melt palette. If I'd known we were going to have another option so soon that is much closer to what I want out of this, that is much more neutral, much less mustard and swampy greens, I would not have bought this mustard and swampy green palette just to have a melt product. I would have held out for the 27, or if I'd seen them side by side, I would have picked the 27. I don't have the 27 palette because, oh, that's what I didn't like. I didn't like how close some of the tones were, because that is the thing. You really don't need all of the shades in here. I'm going to do Noblewoman before I forget on the outer third, and then we'll do some blending. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, I like that. I don't know why I'm surprised. I knew I like all of these shadows, so even if I don't like how the look turns out, I'm still going to appreciate these gorgeous shimmer shades, particularly on the Queen of Hearts side. While I'm doing this, of course, I'm going to like these really, really pretty shimmer shades. I'm taking just a little bit to make sure that there's a little bit of gold between them, because I think I placed the center in different spots on both eyes because I'm not good at making stuff even. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. It doesn't look anything like the picture that I'm referencing that you guys don't know about, partially because the person in the picture had much bigger eye space and took the crease much higher, but I don't always do that, so. Oh, that's pretty. You guys don't care yet. It's fine. I feel like the blending on this side is better. That's how it always is, though, so. Yeah, I definitely got the center line there closer in than on this side. Still think they're pretty, though. I also think I'm going to take a little bit of Noblewoman on my lower lash line. This corner is watering like clockwork. And if I was better at placement, I might put a little bit of green on that inner corner, but I'm not very good at placement. So, what the hell, we'll try it. It's gonna be horrible. Taking a little bit, we're just going to put it practically inside my eye in a place that is not showing up on camera for you guys. And then we'll go ahead and use Crown. I was considering trying to use Gemini, but Gemini just really doesn't stick on my face at all. Like, I might swatch at the end just to show you how much it does not behave the same as Goals, but Gemini just, it hates me. It's like it's missing a binder or something. It either doesn't stick down to the eye, or it'll stick down and then immediately blend away and fall off. It's like playing with a loose pigment without anything to stick it down. It is not fun. Let me just, see, there's product there. And it kind of goes, but it's really not there, and now I have to do it on the other side because matching. Yeah, that ever so slightly tinted the shadow that I already had down there. Oh, this turned out real cool. It does kind of make me wish that we had a red tone to add a little bit more, like a red toned matte for just adding a little something to kind of like frame the outer edge. I say while realizing I can use the shimmer to do that, so I'm going to pack the red a little further out just to allow that really cool like reddish burgundy tone from Noble Woman to kind of exist out there, kind of not. Okay, so we're counting this as face done. And I think that turned out really cool. So, let's start on, nope, not face done, eyes done. Now I have been playing with loose powders again, so I have a bunch to buff off of my face because I use too much. Which is good. It helps with the fallout of certain shades and keeping my face more matte, but that does mean it can kind of impair blush and bronzer sticking to my face, which is a good plan with something this dark, but the bronzer I have doesn't really need that buffer right now. At least I don't think it does. I like it. What was I saying? I've gone on so many tangents, and you guys are going to be so sick of me. But it's better than what I thought I was going to say, which is I'm sitting down and making a boring-ass look because I have a headache and nothing's happening. Like, things are happening, but I'm home on quarantine. I'm getting up, I'm watching Netflix, I'm going for walks sometimes. I'm cooking, but not too much because I don't have anywhere to put the excess food. And also, we're trying to not go to the grocery store too often. Oh, I am cooking tonight. My mom and I have kind of been alternating because we have things we want to make. And I, not always. My mom doesn't like spices, and my dad has a digestive disorder where he can't have pepper, citrus, mint, caffeine, most spices, and like caffeine knocks out chocolate and stuff like that. Anything coffee flavored, cannot has. So, a lot of the stuff I like to make is either too spicy for my mom or has something that my dad cannot digest and will have a bunch of intestinal distress over. So like I made butter chicken for them, but then I took out all the spices, so it was just like a tomato cream sauce with garlic and onion, which was really good, but I'm like, they're sitting there like, yes, this is delicious, this is fantastic. I'm like, it's missing what makes it awesome. It's missing all the fun spices. You know, eating it and it's good, but when I know what it's supposed to taste like with the garam masala and the cumin and all the other like chili and cayenne that I put in it, I know what it's supposed to taste like, and I'm sassy. So, I've been coming up with things where I'm like, you would like this, and or I can make this in a way that you are willing to eat it, so that they can try some stuff, because otherwise my mom has been making a lot of the same food since we were kids. She has, like, favorite recipes. She uses them a lot. But I'm a big fan of trying new stuff. And since we were a large family, we didn't go out to eat very much as children. So they didn't go out to eat much as children. So they missed a lot of the really cool places in St. Louis that you can eat and learn some great new food options. Doing blush now, by the way. Like, I love Mescarems. It's on Grand. It's this amazing little Ethiopian place. I don't know what I like there, because I always get the variety big injera full of just, like, 4 or 5 different ones. And I know some of what's on there, but I don't know which one's which. So I don't know which one's my favorite. I just know that I like it. And then if I get that one, I like most of what's on there. And even the ones I don't like as much pair really well together. So I can, you know, take two pieces of two different things and mix it. They're so good. If you have not had Ethiopian food, find some and eat it. I think I like the Dora Wat, which is not probably how you pronounce it. And I like one of the ones like potatoes and onions, and it's really good. At least the stuff that I have had at that amazing restaurant has been fantastic and so delicious. Somebody's watching TV. Anyway, so we've been doing that. Haven't been able to walk I didn't walk yesterday because I think my legs hate me, and they've decided that despite the fact that like I'm not in great shape, but I was working out, I was doing stuff. So me going for a walk a day should not have been a surprise to my system. But some combination of either the walking being different than like the ellipticals and treadmill stuff that I was doing, or my body just hates me, or that I switched up my shoes, I now have shin splints from going for walks, and I'm really mad at it because maybe it's that I'm older than the last time I was, no? Because I've done that, like I've decided to ease into getting into shape and like just start tacking on long walks to my days to get out and moving and like kind of get a little bit of base muscle built before I go and start going for runs or whatever. And it has never been a problem before, but it's a problem now apparently. I used to run half marathons and I have shin splints from going for like hour and a half walk. I'm real mad about it. It's like the stupidest exercise, in my opinion, to get an injury from. Like, okay, yeah, maybe you were doing yoga and you pulled a muscle because you stretched too far or strained something, doing a position that you weren't either doing right or weren't ready for, or did for too long. Okay, yeah, maybe you pulled something running that in my head equates to like a real exercise, whereas walking is so low impact and so hard to overdo, in my opinion, that I'm pretty mad about getting shin splints from it. So now I have to like, I've been doing stretches and some other different stability exercises, because one of the options is that like maybe it's not overwork, it's just that your shins are somehow compensating for another part of your leg. I don't know. I'm real mad about it, and I know one of the things they say to do is to, you know, maybe take a break, but that was the only thing that was getting me out of my house, was going for walks. Ugh. I am making Tuscan chicken tonight, which is really, really good. I modified a recipe for like salmon just because I'm like, is the salmon important to the flavor profile? Nope. The main preference is that it's some type of protein that's kind of pan-fried, and then you make a like white wine cream sauce and lemon thing with sun-dried tomatoes. I'm like, okay, so I can make that with chicken, and it's going to be a lot cheaper, and it is, and it's delicious. So I'm making that tonight, because my mom made a pork dish for us yesterday. And then we will go back and forth. I think we're probably going to make, and she got a really nice pork loin for us. And I think we're going to do her pork thing that she likes, which is, I like it too. It's a white wine mustard sauce for these little pork fillets. Because again, there's a bunch of recipes that we have and we like that either are ones I have made and like given her some of, but you know, she never really had me make for the family, or she makes sometimes and we just haven't had in a while. The one we had last night was is toast, and then you roast a pork loin, and then you also make like a gravy, and then you just serve the toast and the piece of gravy, piece of pork and gravy as like an open-faced sandwich. It's really good, and it's something we had a bunch when we were kids and then stopped happening, probably because it was a quick, easy, this is a weekday meal thing. I think we're gonna go with the Franken highlighter to match these. I think that's a good idea to play on the warm tones of the eye. Yeah, but there's a bunch of stuff that we had as kids that we don't really make a lot anymore because Mom's not trying to come up with a bunch of different things to feed a big family. We're having one family dinner a week, and then the rest is just everybody else has moved out. I'm cooking for myself generally, and she's just kind of making something for her and Dad. And then I asked for the pork thing, and they had it on one of the weeks that I didn't come to family dinner. I was somewhere else. And so Mom made it again for us. It was really good. It's a good Franken highlighter. I want to keep putting more on, but I shouldn't, she says while doing the thing. Because this has so much base powder color thing, I feel like I have to use it more as a blush topper than like a straight up highlighter, because it has base color. Like there is a decent amount of the oranginess still in there. We're gonna be way too extra and also put, I have plans. I'm gonna buff out the back edge of that with whatever's left over on my blush brush. And then we're gonna put a little bit of the Becca Vanilla Quartz highlighter just on the cheekbones, like the top. It's the top. This is gonna be way too much for most of my looks, but you guys don't get to see how this look wears the rest of the day. So you don't care if I get oily because you're not going to be here to see it. That is something I'm enjoying, doing my makeup later in the day, that I don't worry about how long it's going to wear because I've been getting up in the afternoon because I have nowhere else to be, and then doing my makeup, and then nobody cares. As I set it with setting spray to fix it in place for the next couple hours before nothing happens, because I'm not going for walks for a day or two to rest my angry shins. I'm really mad about it, because like I didn't have shin splints when I was doing Taekwondo, when I was running half marathons, like none of my like much more high intensity workouts when I was doing them did I get shin splints during. Which is why I originally didn't know what was happening. I was like, oh, my shin muscles are just being lazy about picking up the toe of my foot, because I'm, you know, starting my walk off with like uphill, and you don't have as much space for your leg to swing through, so you have to flex your toe earlier in the step. So they're just the muscles are tired. Well, guess what? Shin splints, because they're muscle tears, which I found out later, that's what sore muscles feel like, because it's muscle tears. Yeah, shin splints are my shin muscle being tired. I was an idiot. I'm really into this eye color though. Ooh, I like that. I am glad that I put the gold in between. I'm not sure. And I've blended the green, I've blended golds into the more purpley of the shimmers in Colored Red. I don't think I've done it directly into the more red shade. I think they would muddy at the center. I really like it though. It turned out cool. And I'm surprised I didn't start using more of the warm tones around it earlier, because I was almost always pairing this with like the swampy green in the crease, and it's real cool looking. Oh, lovely. I have a set of lashes over there that are clumping together because some eyeshadow primer got on them. That's probably why I don't normally like volumizing mascara. I go for lengthening because I want it darkened and then fanned out. I don't really want it clumped together for like thickness. So whenever my lashes, like those two, clump together and make like one super lash, I get annoyed because I want them fanned out and split up. So like clumpy lashes, or mascara brushes that don't properly fan out my lashes really are not my favorite. Oh, I watched Unorthodox on Netflix, which, yeah, just came out, but I watched the whole thing because I have no chill. And I just kept wanting to know what was going to happen, so I just kept saying, yeah, next episode, and stayed up pretty late watching the whole thing. And now I'm sad, because based on how they left it, I'm not sure there's any plans to do a follow-up series, especially since it's based on a book. They left it pretty open-ended with whether or not, spoilers, whether or not Etsy, or Esty, sorry. I have my captions on at all times in case somebody tries to talk or do something loud, because there is always construction happening. And seeing Esty up over and over again, even though I know it was a nickname for Esther, it just kept looking like Etsy. And so I started calling her Etsy. Etsy. Nope, now I can't say it. Etsy instead of Esty. So they didn't resolve whether or not she got into the program. They didn't resolve. Whether or not the rabbis were going to keep trying to steal her baby. Whether or not Yankee was going to stay in without her. Any of it. They didn't. It was a nice ending in that you could see it multiple ways. Either she got in or she didn't. Maybe she got a job somewhere else. Maybe she got to follow her musical dreams. Whether or not she gets to keep her baby. Whether or not the baby even survives that long because she doesn't have any medical care. There's so many different options. And they left it super open. And I want more. I really liked it. I want more. I have a plan. We're going to wear dread so that everything can stay kind of colorful but muted. Like, dread is such a nice nude. As I butcher my lip line. So if you haven't seen Unorthodox, I need you guys to go watch it so we can talk about it. Because I have feelings about a lot of characters. Oh, that's what's happening with my hair. Fun. See, this is why I don't always like putting my hair up. It gets a weird kink in it from being up. Even if it's just back in... Oh, that is so not good. I don't like that. Ugh. But I want to talk real quick about one of the things that really annoyed me about this palette is these two are not different enough. Yeah, this one's a little bit more, brown, and this one's a little more green, but they perform super similarly on the eyes. If you're trying to deepen it up, they're not different enough. They're not different enough to make it worth having both. Same thing with Polka Dot. It's just in between these two. This could have been a more stronger orange like Empress, and that would have been a really, really cool, warm, nude little Quint, I guess? Quint. And I don't like the black. I don't think this color story needed a black. I think this should have been either a really, really dark metallic brown or a dark metallic green. Because having two mattes, or two shimmers, and one being, medium light and one being true medium, at least in my opinion, there's no darker shimmer, there's no option to add something that's cooler, or even, since you're switching out multiple things, because even then you don't need one of these, not both. And Luna technically helps, but these blend out well enough that they don't need Luna as a transition shade. This could have been like a true inner corner highlight, like a much lighter one. It could have been green, it could have been gold. One of these could have gone away. Honestly, I would have kept... Actually, no, I think I use Fire OG more than I use Leo. Just because they're right next to each other. One of these could have left and could have been a darker green. This could have been a dark metallic brown. Because you only have two shimmers and you don't have enough depth to do like the type of things that I do. And a lot of people do, where they do an inner and outer shimmer of differing depths, or just a different color, or something more interesting. Like, the mix of mattes and shimmers in this is much preferable, in my opinion. You've got an inner corner highlight, you've got two either inner corner or like main lid shades, you've got 3 darker ones for building a look or doing a smokier look. And there's no black. Because if you are that person that really uses a lot of black, you have a favorite black. And you probably have a favorite black single that you are pulling into all your looks. You're not restricting yourself to whether or not the palette has one good black. And I've gone back and forth on black shadows. I didn't use them for a long time because they were too dark. And then I was like, oh yeah, they can deepen. And now I'm to the point where I'm like, yeah, they can. But you know what I like better? A matching tone. Instead of having a black, I'd rather have a really dark purple, or really dark blue, or really dark green, or really dark burgundy. I'd rather continue the same color story of my eye into the crease to deepen it. If I put a black in here, I feel like it would ruin the way these things are all playing off each other, the way the red is corresponding to the warm crease and stuff like that. I feel like it would ruin it. And I feel like it ends up so much smoking out and being kind of muddy that if you don't put it exactly where you want and have like 4 different shades of the color you want to blend it into, whether it be gray or brown or a color like orange and green or something like that, you're not going to get a nice transition. There's so many problems with making a black shadow, and I don't care. I would rather it be a dark version of the color of the eye look I'm going for. I'd rather it be a really dark brown. I really do. Even a dark brown is boring, but I don't like most black shadows, and I don't think there should be one in every color. I don't think it always adds to everything. But this is the eye look. I think it turned out really nicely. I'm gonna try and give you guys a better look at the colors. Like, that's really cool. I think it turned out awesome. We have a stupid dent in my hair now, but I'm not going anywhere, and this side's flipping. Oh, everything else is going wrong, but that eye look. Oof. I really am excited now that I have thought of a way to use the neutrals. The warm neutrals. In the way that makes them more interesting. Like, just having that orange, even though it didn't end up being super orange, I think it's way better than just being a slightly warm crease. I think Empress had... Is it Empress? Yes. Empress had a really good impact on the look. Oh. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.